How's it guys, this is Dayvy FPL and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video we're going to be talking about the initial Game Week 16 wildcard draft. I had to get this video out to you guys as soon as possible because of the quick turnaround from Game Week 15 to 16. If you don't know, Game Week 16 is the last game week that you can use your first wildcard. So if you don't know that yet, please use that first wildcard in Game Week 16. And also remember that Game Week 16 deadline is happening on Monday evening. So that kind of is self-explanatory why I had to get this video out for you guys as soon as possible, because the sooner we take advantage of those price rises and those price drops, the better. So in this video, we'll be going over my team value, my current draft, price rises and price drops, and then the current initial wildcard draft that we will be kind of building towards that Game Week 16 deadline. So that's something you're interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So the team value and why this is important is you guys might have a lot more team value than I do, or maybe you have a little bit less than me. As I mentioned in the previous wildcard video, my team value is actually quite bad. This is not my actual team value, this is my selling value. So this is what happens when I delete all the players from my own squad, and this is the money that remains in my bank. So this is what you guys should do. Then go see if you have more or less money than me. If you have less money than me, not too much of a situation, but if you have more money than me, what you got to do is you got to look at the players that you don't like from my draft and then simply just upgrade them to players that you do prefer. But from an admin point of view, this is just something that I have to upload on the video, as I don't want too many comments asking me about if you can't afford players, what you should do, and if you have more players, what you should do. There's a simple fix for that. Just look at your own squad and look at the upgrades from my squad that you want to do and just hit those. I'm pretty sure that they'll be absolutely great. So secondly, this is the current wildcard draft that I have. This was taken from last week's video, pre-Game Week 15. This was the Game Week 15 wildcard draft. And if I was to use my wildcard in Game Week 15, what I would do, this is kind of the draft that I will be building to. So what you must do on screen here is just monitor the situation of all the players on screen here. If you have them in your team already, you don't have to stress about them. But if you don't, monitor the price rise situation, monitor the price drop situation. In a perfect world, all of these players will have price drops because they'll be cheaper and we can definitely afford them then, but sometimes that isn't the case. So what I'll be doing in the upcoming talking points is I'll be showing you sites that you can be using for price drops and price rises, and how you should monitor the situation on those players so that you can get the most out of your wildcard. Because that's the thing about the wildcard, it allows you to take advantage of those price changes. Unfortunately, because of the quick turnaround from Game Week 15 to Game Week 16, we only have 2 price rise sessions. That's going to be tonight, the day of you watching this video, and then it's going to be tomorrow night, which is Sunday evening. So unfortunately, not a lot of time to take advantage of those price rises, but we can still get 1 or 2 here and there, and hopefully that increases our team value and make our wildcard just a little bit more effective. So starting off in goal, what I'll be doing is I'll be running through the positions here, maybe mention some alternatives that you can go for. The main talking point in the squad is going to be Son and Kane. So sorry, that's something I actually didn't mention to you, is that this wildcard draft is built around the Game Week 19 bench boost. So what I try to go for here is to maximize those double Game Week 19 players. Actually in the squad, only 2 players don't have a double Game Week in double Game Week 19, and that's Son and Kane, and they're going to be the main talking point. If you don't want Son, if you don't want Kane, it leaves you with heaps of budget to upgrade other departments. If you don't want Kane, you can downgrade him to someone like Martial even, and you can upgrade maybe to a Robertson or a Trent. That seems to be quite a popular thing that you can go for. In my Game Week 15 team, I brought in Robertson this week, so I could simply just keep him in the squad going into Game Week 16 and just keep him there because they have some nice fixtures upcoming. But unfortunately with Son and Kane, they have a lot of budget, but the current plan is I will have a transfer before Game Week 17. So from Game Week 16 to 17, I'll be able to make 1 free transfer. I can also take a hit if I want, but if I am wildcarding, don't really want to take many hits in the upcoming game weeks. I will free it in Game Week 18 so I can maximize that blank game week and also maximize in turn the double game week, and then I have 1 free transfer between Game Week 18 and 19. So those 2 free transfers between now and Game Week 19 can be used to get Son and Kane out. I was currently looking at someone like Jamie Vardy, but I could also bring Martial in. And then I wanted to upgrade Son to Mane with the simple thinking that it's a lot easier to transition from Mane to Kevin De Bruyne / Sterling in Game Week 20 when Man City still have some good fixtures than to go from Son to Mane and I need more budget. Maybe I can leave some budget in the bank and then I will be able to afford it, but I just don't want to kind of negate the budget in a double game week. And I think that Mane could be a nice differential going into the double game week 19, especially with Liverpool's fixtures there. So going into the rest of the team, the defense is pretty standard, it's pretty budget. I think the only main talking point there is probably going to be Thiago Silva. If Reece James is back from his injury and it looks like he's going to be starting a couple game weeks around that New Year's period, I definitely will bring him in instead of Thiago Silva because he's quite a bit cheaper and a bit more attacking. And you'll see later on that he does look like he'll be having a price drop between now and that game week 16 deadline, which is quite appetizing. The rest of the defense, McCarthy, Johnston, not too much to talk about there. I am losing Martinez, but unfortunately that's something I just have to take into my stride because Aston Villa don't have the double. But McCarthy and Johnston should get some good results there. Not too much faith in that West Bromwich Albion defense, especially this week. Hopefully they don't put on a show as I am a Mo Salah captainer. But under Sam Allardyce, I think over the next couple of game weeks, maybe we'll see a resurgency in that defense and hopefully some more clean sheets. And I've gone for Taylor, Soufal, Dallas, and Walker-Peters. The one thing that is tempting me is the double in the West Ham defense. I think it's Balbuena that is 4.4, so that looks like quite a good option to go for, and I might save a little bit of budget there and maybe Dallas. I like Dallas though because he is quite an attacking defender and Leeds just get so many chances going forward. Taylor and Walker-Peters, I've had them since the start of the season, so I don't think they're going to be going anywhere, but I just have to monitor the situation on some of these players, especially because those game week 15 fixtures haven't even completed yet. Going to the midfield, we have quite a stacked midfield in my opinion. We've got Salah, Son, and Fernandes. I think Salah and Fernandes are basically essential, especially in this part of the season, because they're two players that you know are going to be in that starting 11. Can't be saying that about all the teams, but Salah and Fernandes should be in and around that starting 11, and I think that's going to equal some points. We then have the punt that we went for in game week 15, Rafinha. Hopefully he does well. Then Souček from West Ham, just a nice cheap option. With Son and Kane, I'm a little bit up in the air about these two options. The general thinking about it is that they go and face Fulham and then they go and face Leeds. So the Leeds fixture favors Son highly because he just gets in behind those defenses, and I think that Leeds are going to leave a ton of space in behind their defenders. So that looks like Son's a good option, but then Kane obviously is on penalties and he's in and around that box a lot and maybe more of the consistent option, but he does hold so much budget, and I am looking at that Liverpool defense. I am looking at other options in midfield, so maybe he can be kind of that cash cow that we always look for, and maybe it could downgrade him. But I could also do that maybe in game week 17, take Kane out, and then before game week 19 bring someone like Mane in. That could also be something to look at. But that's enough for the midfield. Now let's get into the forward department. We've got Che Adams, we've got Bamford here, and then we've got Kane. So I'm not going to talk about Kane because he's spoken about him enough, but the nice little alternative that you can go for Bamford is Rodrigo. So he comes in cheaper, providing some good stats. Now that he's starting for Leeds, it looks like he's a good option to go for. It's just going to be that rotation risk that I worry about a little bit. If he is nailed in that starting lineup, I definitely would consider him over Bamford because in this current draft, I really need money. And then Che Adams, just a nice 6.0 striker that's going to be in that starting 11. Southampton are playing well this FPL season, and he overall is doing quite well as well. So that's why I've gone for him, as he also has a double game week. So a nice little complimentary to Walker-Peters. Maybe we can get a Walker-Peters assist to a Che Adams headed goal or something like that. But this is the current draft. Let's go on and talk about the price rises. So this is the price rises / drops talking point. So what I've done here is I'm going to show you two sites that you can use for price rises. The first one is going to be Fantasy Football Fix. Just go to their price rise predictor and this is going to show up on screen. What you must always do is sort to time of change. So you can see there all of the players on the screen right now are highlighted with tonight. What you must do is just do this as late as possible towards the night. The price rises happen about 3 a.m. my local time, which might be 1 in the morning for you, or it might be even in the afternoon or something like that. So just take a look at that, convert it to your time zone, and then do it as close to the changes as possible because that's going to give you the most accurate data. So these are the price rises. I haven't highlighted the price drops. We'll be talking about that on the next website, but you can see here there's not many price rises that are above 100%. Above 100% basically means that they're going to rise in price tonight, but some of these are approaching that. So we've got Dyer, Grealish, McCarthy. So McCarthy is the one I wanted to highlight because he is in our current wildcard draft. So we definitely want to bring McCarthy in as soon as possible to avoid that price rise or to basically gain that price rise. We then have Klich, who I can bring in instead of maybe Rafinha if I think he's going to do well. Then we have Martinez, Justin, Bamford, Dallas, Robertson, Diaz, and Salah. So you can see there, I want to basically bring all these players into my squad unless it is blocking another player. Maybe I have 5 defenders currently and there's 6 that are going to rise. Then I must choose which defender I would rather have. But while you bring in basically everyone that's going to have a price drop, as long as it doesn't negate your previous budget, maybe you have a player in your squad squad a defender that you brought in and he's had about 3 price rises and you're going to lose value on him, then just simply keep him if you want to have him in your wildcard draft, but otherwise boot him if you want to bring in a player that's price rising. So what I'll do is I'll keep Martinez because I'll experience his price rise and I'll maybe gain a 0.1 million on him. Then I'll sell him. Maybe I bring in Justin because he looks like a good shout from a Leicester double game week defender, so he might be in a consideration. My initial draft might not be the same as my final draft, so always just keep that in mind when you are considering these players. But what I wanted to do is give you guys enough information to do this yourself, because this is a valuable asset in FPL that you'll keep forever. As long as you play FPL, this is what you're going to be doing, monitoring price rises and drops. It's a powerful advantage that's going to give you an advantage over the most casual players. So this is the next website I'll be going over. They're called FPL Statistics. So just search them on Google and then on their homepage it'll bring up the price rises and drops. They have a similar layout to Fantasy Football Fix, but what they do is they just have the percentage rise there. So I told you there 100% and above means they're going to price rise, and negative 100% and below means they're going to have a price drop. So McCarthy definitely looks like he'll be having a price rise tonight, so bring him in. Fernandez, we already have him, and Gisa could be a nice option there at 4.5, but then also Martinez can be shown there. So what you should do is basically have both of these websites and compare. If it's on both websites that they're going to have a price rise / drop, bring them in. That's probably going to mean it's a true drop. Then in the price drops, not many players that we do own, that Watkins drop isn't going to affect us, so we don't have to worry about that too much. So now going on to the current draft, and this is my current FPL team. You can see there that I'm going to be keeping 6 players from here to the draft. This could change, obviously. My final team might be a lot different, but we spoke about Martinez. He's going to have a price rise tonight. We want to keep him in the squad so that we can get that 0.1, so when we sell him, he sells for more. There are other players here. We got Bamford who'll stay in. Already spoken about that Ollie Watkins price drop. That's not going to affect us because he currently is 6.1 and we bought him for 6, so I'm not worrying about that too much. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these players as long as possible, because maybe Cancelo has a good game week and he rises tomorrow night, and then we can experience that price rise as well. So basically you got to look at your current squad and make sure that you're not negating value by selling a player and rather gaining value by bringing a player in that's going to rise in price. I will be dropping my final team selection as well as probably a deadline with Dayvy live stream come Monday, so don't worry too much. I'll keep you guys updated about the wildcard throughout the weekend, and hopefully those game week fixtures are in our favor. So this is basically a wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you're new and have not subscribed yet. I'll be checking you guys throughout the weekend for updates on my Twitter at DayvyFPL. Otherwise, with videos coming up tomorrow and on Monday afternoon. I'm going to be signing off. It's been DayvyFPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.